Sup, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and welcome to April's Forgotten 5. What is that? Well, it is 5 games that may have been forgotten in April just because you've been busy buying the bigger games or busy tracking other titles and may have missed them. With so many titles coming out for the various different platforms, I think this is actually an important style video to do. So if you like it, subscribe and give a comment on what you like and possibly any games that you know out there that I don't. Put them in the list. Now, these aren't the biggest and the best games. Again, these are some of the forgotten ones, some that I didn't know. We're going to jump into this right away. The first one I want to talk about is Inzone, A World Apart. This is created by Gently Mad Studios and published by Assemble. And really, missing Inzone, A World Apart wouldn't be that hard of a thing to do. It's early access. It's a post-apocalyptic game. It's a city manager. It also happens to be absolutely awesome. I didn't know about it, and you guys know I don't like to push a lot of early access games, but come on. This is a post-apocalyptic building sim with you putting together a community after a nuclear holocaust where one second you're fighting off a drought, the next second your dudes are succumbing to Chernobyl levels of radioactive damage and watching their skin just slough off. You're still expected, of course, to bring in that load of carrots, though, for everybody to eat. Gathering items, keeping your guys alive, and just exploring the world is the name of the game here. It has that dreary feeling of the future, but it also has some stunning environmental effects. You literally start out with just a couple people in a damn Scooby-Doo death bus, and then you start building all this stuff, putting crap together with salvage that you find. It's already got day-night system. It's got weather, including things like the weather impacting bodies of water as they dry up during periods of drought with lack of rain. It's got an almost Frostpunk feel to it, but is somehow even more dire. It really is phenomenal to see this title, and the devs are consistently interacting with the community. This is a game that really feels like a title from a much larger team than it really is. Once again, Inzone, A World Apart. That's $24. And then we're going to switch gears for a second. And the next one I want to talk about, number 2 for you people who are trying to count, is Levelhead by Butterscotch Shenanigans. First, let's all acknowledge that's the coolest developer name sincerely ever. Also acknowledge that this is a platforming game that starts out training you with 90 levels of its own with your delivery robot jumping around, but also has a fully featured level designer that lets you create insane levels, throw them out there, and then see how other people did playing them. Painting and placing objects everywhere you want. It is simple to do, and it's got a very Mario feel to its creation engine. It also has co-op split screen as well as Steam remote play support. Its level design system is very easy to use. It looks excellent, and it runs very well. Levelhead is also on the Nintendo Switch. This is a title that completely surprised me. I missed it on the Nintendo Switch, and I've seen it now and played it. And at $19.99, this is not a bad price, especially when you consider that creation engine that is in there. And tons of levels that you can already get if you want to just play what somebody else created. And that brings us to Song of Horror by Protocol Games. This is interesting. It's episodic horror, and from a developer whose last game was nothing. That really doesn't inspire confidence. However, with Song of Horror, you don't need to worry about the other chapters coming out because since its initial launch, all of them but this last one has been released, and its high scores and considerable length per episode means it's one of the few titles that you don't have to worry about feeling ripped off over when it comes to episodic gameplay. And it completely snuck by me. This is a third-person horror game, a unique story mixed in with very good graphics, and each episode has its own unique twist or spin that makes it feel somewhat contained, though of course not really because this is episodic. They have released on time, and we're looking at next month for the last, but we do have this title. I wanted to make sure people knew about it. And each episode goes for $7.99, so you could always just jump in and play one. Speaking of jumping in, I am so stunned more people are not talking about this. Hypercharged Unboxed. Mother of God, why more people are not playing this game stuns me. Hypercharged is an incredibly beautiful romp through your own room as a child, but in a toy's body and shooting other toys in a first-person game. That amount of awesome should be illegal. You can also play against others online or offline. It's got bots, it's got local co-op, full PvP as well, and split screen. The game had its full launch on April 27th, and while it didn't seem to set the world on fire, it really should have. It even has a free demo, so the only reason you wouldn't want to check this out is sheer pure human laziness or hatred for fun and toys and all things good in life. A first-person shooter with building elements during the battles and tons of ways to play is something that we should all be talking about, but it's got lost in April, and it feels a bit like Toy Soldiers and an old-style FPS game had a baby. A glorious, shooting, angry, toy-looking baby. The last one I want to talk to you guys about is Iritus or Iritus. This is Lord of the Dead from Unfrozen. Now, people pronounce the name differently all the time, but this is a reverse Darkest Dungeon. You play as a sarcastic necromancer who raises back from the dead, Altered Beast style, to try to escape his own dungeon prison. But you don't get to thrust character after character into the jaws of defeat like a lot of these Darkest Dungeon games. Here, you raise the dead from the bodies of those you've killed, with over 15 types of creatures and characters and monsters that go out there. You are the bad guy this time. If you've ever played one of these games like Darkest Dungeon and thought to yourself, yeah, but what about that poor dude at the bottom of the dungeon? Now you get to play him, wreaking havoc on enemies, unleashing hatred on your foes, and dark hexing your way to evil freedom. But it's quite enjoyable to flip that over and become the villain in a game like this and see how those different elements actually end up impacting the gameplay, like resurrecting characters and performing alchemy and using different body parts of the people you've killed to perform all that. Very cool game. It is also out on other systems as well. So anyway, that's it for me. You guys can tell these are short. I get demonetized anyway, so there's never a need to actually go too long that I need to. If you guys get a chance and you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. Check out Reddit and Twitter and Facebook. I'm on iTunes and Spotify for the Friday podcasts we do on ACG. You can always either go and watch us live or listen on iTunes and Spotify. I would love for you to go there and subscribe. Lastly, you can become a member of the Discord by being a patron. You also get some cool swag depending on the level, and there's various different levels that you can join. We have an excellent community. I would love to see you there. And if I've helped you maybe find a cool game or warned you away from a shitty one, hey, you know what? That's a good way to give a little back. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.